Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Quarter Twins Weekly Review, the podcast with only one question. Why so serious? Today, we are going to be talking about every single Christopher Nolan movie ever made. We are going to be discussing each movie in release order. And then at the end, we will rank them after giving our in-depth thoughts. I can guarantee some flaming hot takes.
Really?
From definitely on my part. I don't know about your part, but this is definitely gonna upset some people probably.
What episode number is this?
63.
Nice. Yeah.
60. Is it?
Yep. You got
was
it.
I correct?
First,
Okay, cool.
First guess. You got it.
I lost track. We have a hit TikTok out at the moment.
Oh, dude.
So go and watch that.
Don't we?
I spent pretty much my entire day yesterday doing that.
Dude, you are a filming master.
So there was a lot of editing and illegally pulling YouTube clips from YouTube. But, it's fine.
If it's on YouTube, it's fine.
It's on YouTube. It's fine.
Yeah.
I will put in time code so you can skip to a single Christopher Nolan movie if you want to, and you can do whatever you want. You can listen to whatever you want for however long you want. And this is the show. Roll the ad that we.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like you're teeing up an ad, and I was like, I wonder where you're going with this, because
this episode is sponsored by NordVPN.
Sponsored. Nope,
we are not. No. Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. This is it. We're doing it.
Tell me about him.
He's a director.
Cool.
So we're gonna talk about all of his movies in release order. But first, we're gonna just talk about who is Christopher Nolan? Mm-hmm. What makes a Christopher Nolan movie good? Or what are the things? What makes a
Nolan a Nolan?
What makes a Nolan a Nolan? What are the things that distinguishes Nolan from the rest of the bunch? Mm-hmm. Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, right off the bat, I gotta say, every single movie, maybe with the exception of Oppenheimer. Well, if we're being honest, the Batman movies are kind of the exception to the rule. I have.
This is one of my critical points.
I have, yes.
How I feel about these Batman movies.
I have such an interesting, we'll talk about it when we actually talk about the movies, but why did he make these movies? I don't understand.
That's a great question.
They're so far out of his normal movie making. But my main point is
my language right now.
Everything with the exception of those movies, and maybe Oppenheimer. You could probably. There's a little bit. Basically what I'm trying to say is there's time bending, time manipulation is happening in all of these movies, whether it's flashbacks, flash forwards, characters in the future explaining things that happened in the past while the past is happening, literal theory of relativity, stories being told simultaneously, but you can't literally tell them simultaneously, so you have to just tell one and then tell it again from a different character's perspective. The movie going backwards. The movie going forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards.
A lot of times, yeah.
The movie taking place in Alaska where the sun doesn't set, so the entire movie is set during the day, but it is nighttime sometimes. That sort of thing. It's all the theory of time. He's very interested, Christopher, in time and how it plays into our viewing experience.
Yeah, he's talked about it like he's just always been obsessed with the existence of time and the concept and kind of the horror of time passing. He's just obsessed with that. The one thing that is our ultimate undoing is time,
right?
And he's obsessed with that concept and how it just encapsulates the human experience, because everything, time is what
time wins,
holds everything together. Time wins,
Yeah. Well, what Michael Caine, which is one of my other points, is that Michael Caine is going to be in the movie somewhere somehow. He's in 7 of the
Yes,
9 movies.
That's true.
I believe. No, 6 of the 9. Anyway, he says in Interstellar, "I'm an old physicist. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of time."
Yep.
So, I mean, he's has actors in his movies literally talking about time being this inevitable thing.
Yeah.
Like Jordan at the beach, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
My goodness.
Did you like that?
That was good.
Yeah.
And then I have my B point is an interesting premise, followed up by a twist on that premise. And then my final thing is bad sound mixing. He has trouble with volume. Sometimes the soundtrack is louder than the people talking.
Sometimes and often, yes.
Yeah.
Especially in most of his movies, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Especially in that like action heavy. Well, not even action heavy, because it's a lot of times it's the dialogue scenes where you're like, I cannot hear what they're saying.
Right.
Christopher. Yeah, I mimic what you said about all of those things.
Thanks.
For me, one of the things he's not one. There's this like stereotype of like quote good cinematography where it's a still shot, like it's a long take.
Mm-hmm.
This not a long take, but just a shot that holds on to something for a long time. People see that and are like, wow, good cinematography.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan doesn't like, and I noticed this again watching all of these movies. He doesn't hold on shots very long in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't really do huge, long, sweeping, establishing shots. He has establishing shots, of course.
He does do it in Batman when Batman's standing on things.
Yes,
He'll do a little twirl around him,
thing.
But that's about it.
And also his action directing is very quick cut editing. It's very close quarters, not like your John Wicks where the camera pulls back a lot and it just holds on John Wick killing a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's very like close quarters, quick cuts, bing bang boom, this sort of thing.
Bing bang boom,
which is not my favorite style of action to watch, and I think that's what holds some of his action heavy movies back for me personally. His Batman movies, for example.
Yep. Very, and the choreography in those movies is also pretty poor.
It's rough. Yeah.
Cartoonish.
But it's not always a bad thing. That's just, part of his style is he has very intentional cuts and editing and well, we'll get to it. Some of these movies have that more than others. So we're just going to go through all these in release order, give our thoughts on them, and then we'll rank them at the end. So, the first one,
I should have wrote
1997, right? I think.
Should have written the year down. I have following at 1998.
1998. Following. All black and white. If I understand correctly, this movie was made with a $6,000 budget, which is like pennies.
Yeah.
And it's all black and white.
Pennies.
And he was like, he didn't have a major studio behind him, so he just like had to shoot it on weekends with his friends who acted when they were free. So it took him a really long time to make it. But he made it, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I watched it kind of in and out of sleep, so I'll let you kind of give the
let me
give just a quick rundown of what happens in this.
Yeah, so our dude, the main character, I think what is his name? Mark Will? I don't remember.
Sometimes Christopher Nolan doesn't name his characters either.
Yeah, he might not even have a name. Our main guy is like a struggling upstart writer. He wants to be a writer, but he's not good at it. So he, in an attempt to learn how to write better, he starts following people around New York City. So he'll just choose somebody, follow them, see where they go, try to learn the intricacies of the normal man, And he explains to the police officer, because he's at the beginning of the movie, we find out he's being interviewed or interrogated, what have you, about whatever he did, which we haven't got to yet. He talks about all the rules he had. He's like, I never follow the same person twice. I never write down where they live, or
never follow women or children.
Yeah, I never follow women or children into alleys. Nothing that would be any more suspicious than someone who happens to be walking along the same path that day, right? So he, in his own weird way, it's like he understands like what he's doing is wrong, but it's sort of like a noble, like it's for the arts,
Yeah.
But he also then explains like he started following this one woman, and he followed her multiple times.
Sorry,
he
guys.
followed this one dude multiple times. Yeah, he broke his own rules eventually. It led him to an interesting dude with a briefcase. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch this guy handing off this briefcase to some other dude or something." Turns out this guy's a burglar. He saw him following him, and he trains him in the ways of burglary.
Burglary.
In an attempt to get him into a desperate situation where he would try to burgle a specific place, and then they steal the money off of him, and he takes the fall, and they lose absolutely nothing. He also falls in love with the girl he's following, and she's with the dude that trained him how to burgle. And that's like one of the big twists, is that they were in on it the whole time. Yeah. So it's a pretty, I feel like this is like it's a simpler movie.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's not.
It's his first one.
Yeah, he's not doing anything too crazy here, but it's like, he's got like a fun twist.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there is some like Memento style, like it'll cut to just a completely out of sequence shot of him like on the ground, like coughing up blood in a rubber glove, and you're like, what is that? And then it'll go back to what he was doing previously, and it'll be like, yeah, that's weird.
You're like, why did
so
we
it
just
definitely
see that?
has that, that Christopher Nolan time, non-linear, flair to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's short too. It's a very short movie.
Yeah, it was like maybe an hour and a half at most.
Yeah, if that. Yeah. So came Memento.
And I think Guy Pearce.
I think probably Memento put him on the map for sure for a lot of people. I was obviously not on the Memento train.
You were a beb.
I was a baby, and I just watched it this last month.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce plays.
Boring guy.
No. What's his character's name?
Leonard Shelby?
Leonard. Yeah, Leonard. He plays Leonard. Leonard is the man with short-term memory loss.
Mm-hmm.
He can't hold a memory for too much longer than like maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I don't know. It's short-term.
Yeah, very short.
And yeah, you explained kind of the plot of the movie. His wife had been raped and killed by John G., which he finds out, and Carrie-Anne Moss is in it as this girl who he meets at some point in. I've only seen it once. I feel like I would probably like it more than I did at the second time around, because you can kind of follow it better, because it is very, very much non-linear.
Yeah.
The first shot of the movie is looking at a dead body, and it's reversed, the bullet exiting the body, going back into the gun, right? Is that what it is? Or it's him taking a Polaroid? It's something like that.
I don't think
Polaroid
there's ever actual reverse time, except for like the first shot of the movie.
I think it's that first shot.
Yeah.
The bullet goes back into the gun or something.
Maybe. I don't remember.
And then it's kind of the story. There's parts of it in color, there's parts of it in black and white, and you're kind of piecing it together as it goes along, with the added conceit of this man who has memory loss, so it's even more difficult for you to follow, which isn't a bad thing. It's very intriguing, and the movie itself didn't ever bore me. Like I was hooked. I loved the, like, Because it'll like, he kind of goes back and forth where he'll show you a scene in color, he'll cut to black and white, and he's talking on the phone to this person on the other end of the phone, and then it'll go back to color, and you're a few minutes before the scene that happened 2 scenes ago.
Yeah.
And you see what happened leading up to that, and there are like a few reveals that happen in those things. My favorite one was when he is talking to, you see the scene where he's having where Carrie-Anne Moss comes into the house, and she's beaten and bloodied, and she's like, why'd you send me to go talk to this guy? He beat me up and all this stuff.
And you're like, oh no.
You're like, oh no, that sucks. And then a few scenes happen, and you go back to that scene, and you see what happened before that, and she basically provokes him and is like being like, you're so dumb, why are you so stupid, and your memory sucks, man, you
Idiot,
suck.
loser.
And until she provokes him to smack her in the face. And then she just goes outside, gets in her car, slams the car door, and in that time while he's kind of like trying to
struggling.
write things down
Yeah.
to remember them, he doesn't get there in time, and she just walks back in, he forgets, and they have this conversation where she switches the narrative, and I was like, wow, that's sick. I like that a lot.
Because it's like at the beginning of the first time you were at that scene, you can see him struggling to remember something, and then she slams the car door, and it jerks him out of what he's trying to do, and then it's just gone, right? Whatever he was trying to remember, it's gone. So then we see her, and the scene plays out. But then the first time we watch it, she's like arguing with him, and a bunch of times she says like, you don't even remember this conversation. I could do whatever I want to you. I can say whatever I want, you idiot loser. And like he punches her, and she's like, gotcha. Exactly what I wanted. I'm going to do this to you now. I'm literally going to go back in there and do what I'm about to do. And then she leaves, and she's like watching him struggle inside. And you also, when she gets in the room, in the second time you watch a scene where you're watching the beginning, she's in there, she steals all the pens in the house. She like grabs them all so he can't find a pen to write down anything. So she has the whole plan, right? And she's walking back out to her car, and she's looking at him like, and she slams the door, and then you watch him like look up and see her in the car, and then it cuts to the next scene or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, dang. Like, he forgot.
Yeah. He forgot this thing that happened.
Yeah. It just happened.
It must suck. It must suck for him.
Yeah. So it was fun. And as I talked about it a little bit already, but in case you're clicking around using the time codes, I'll explain it again. He did kill John G. In the past, he killed the actual one that did the act, and then this guy Lenny, who just so happens to randomly also be a John G. Starts manipulating.
Wait, he's not Lenny. He calls Leonard Lenny. His name is
Teddy.
Teddy. It's Teddy. Yes,
Teddy. But his name is like John Goldman or something, like, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, oh heck, I'm a John G. Which is why he ends up getting. But the idea is like Teddy starts manipulating this guy into doing drug deals and whatever random other stuff he wants him to do, because he has short-term memory loss, and all you have to do is guide him towards a John G, and he'll do whatever you want. Yeah. So it's like he kind of pieces it together, and eventually kills that guy. He kills another dude. His name is John G, and it's just kind of a interesting little. The way that the movie is presented to you going backwards, you kind of are able to have short-term memory loss because you don't remember what has already happened because you haven't seen it happen yet, because the movie's presented to you end to beginning. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the most interesting part of it, is that as you're watching it, you kind of you start to understand how you're supposed to watch the movie and how you're supposed to piece it together. And it's a lot more interesting. Being able to watch the movie about a guy with short-term memory loss, while it makes you feel like you have short-term memory loss. I think that was fun. In terms of like what actually happens in the plot, it's pretty simple and not that interesting. But the premise and the twist on the premise is what grips a lot of people. And I think if you look online for like movies with the best twist endings, I'm sure Memento is on or near the top of all those lists. Personally, it wasn't the most insane twist I've ever seen. I think the most insane twist is just that he's killed a John G already.
Right.
But we watch him like piece together a murder that's about to happen while knowing that he already killed the guy that he's working with. I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite twist in it is because the whole movie he's telling people about his friend, I forget his name, but remember this guy who had
Sammy
Jenkins.
Sammy
Jenkins, Sammy Jenkins, who had the same condition, and he, like, you're seeing this memory of Leonard talking through this whole process with this man and his wife. His wife is like trying to figure out how to get insurance for like insurance money because she has to take care of this guy with short-term memory loss, and they're trying to figure out all this stuff. And they're trying to find like some sort of medicine that will help him, or like, oh no, his wife needs medicine of some kind. I forget what it is. Anyway, you're shown this kind of story, this B plot where Sammy Jenkins and his wife is trying to get him to remember, and she's like, okay, maybe I can get him to remember if like I get him to, because she thinks he's faking essentially. She thinks he's essentially like making this up.
Yeah.
So she thinks she can get him to come clean and remember things if like she starts asking him to give her medicine over and over again, because she knows if she gets too much, she'll die.
Yeah.
And so she's trying this, and then she realizes like he's just going to keep doing this until I die, and she dies.
Yeah.
But then the twist is, and this is what's so good about this movie, is you're not really sure what to believe, because at the end, Teddy says, like, you made this whole story about Sammy Jenkins up. Like this, like you are Sammy Jenkins. You killed your wife. Nobody killed your wife. You're the one who did it. You're just out for this revenge for no reason, essentially.
Right.
And you're not really sure whether to believe him, but I was like, whoa, that's hardcore.
Crazy.
But then I didn't really think about it too much after that. I was like, yeah. It's like too many questions. I was like,
maybe if I watched it in 2000, when I was 1 year old, I could get into it a little bit more, but the hype is lost on me for this one personally. I mean, it was fun and I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It's not going to be like let's watch Memento.
Yeah,
you know,
like it was really fun to watch. Like it wasn't boring. Like it was so intriguing. Like probably, like I said in my review, I was like, it's probably a masterpiece, but at the same time, like I didn't really enjoy Guy Pearce's performance that much. Like people talk about his performance is so good. I was like, he's kind of boring to watch. It's really good. I think I was going to say this at the beginning. Just disclaimer. All of these movies are incredible. Really good, in my opinion. I mean, like, all these movies are good. Let's say that. Even the ones I don't really like that much, I think they're good.
Wow.
They're pretty good. So it's not like I don't like this movie. It's just, it's not.
I mean, I agree with the exception of one film.
You know?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know which one that is. All right.
I hope you should. You should. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to Insomnia, which is the.
You didn't like this one.
It is the third. It's the one of the three movies I hadn't seen of his filmography already. I'd seen all the other ones already. These are the three that I had to watch. His first three. This Insomnia is the Al Pacino is a cop movie, which goes against his classic mafia man role.
Yep.
I'm assuming that he takes more often than not. This is my first time ever watching an Al Pacino movie. I thought he was pretty good, so I need to watch some more of his stuff. Goodfellas, I think he's in. Is he in The Departed?
I don't know.
Maybe. I watched that movie one time. I know Jack Nicholson is in that movie.
He is.
Anyway, I thought it was pretty good. I like how like I totally understand the plight of It's Always Sunny Outside in Philadelphia. Just kidding, in Alaska.
That's
Where the sun never sets, literally. And so he's like, oh, well, let's go to the school right now and get him because it's daytime. And they're like, dude, it's like 5 p.m. Like, you idiot. And he's like, what? Yeah. You know? So, like,
you idiot.
It's like in a perpetual state of, like, dusk and dawn all at the same time, all the time. And so he's just, like, constantly struggling with, it's bright in my hotel room. I can't sleep. Yep. And so he's starting to like kind of go crazy while he's solving this crime mystery.
He has insomnia.
He has insomnia, as you could say. And then you have Robin Williams here, who is a pervert creep murderer.
He's an author.
In the movie. He's also an author. Yeah. And he's like, you're starting to have visions, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I had them too. And
you'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah. So the idea is we have this threat of insomnia, right? And then we also have Robin Williams killed this guy. He's got to catch him, right? And then they have this big shootout.
Well, Robin Williams killed a girl, a high school girl.
Yeah.
That's why he's there.
Yes. So they have this stakeout because they think they do a press release where they say they know they found the body or something.
Yeah.
And so
she left her backpack at this house.
Right. It's her backpack. So he goes.
Or they're looking for the backpack. Anyway.
They said they found the backpack.
Yeah.
So then they have evidence or whatever. So Robin Williams goes back to the hut where he killed her, and they have this big shootout, and things go chaotic, and they get found out before he's like easily caught, and he starts to slink away, and the fog bank comes in, and everybody's shrouded in the fog. And in the scene before this, Al Pacino's partner threatens to testify against him in court because he killed some drug dealer or something, and it's going to ruin his reputation, and all the people he's ever put away during his entire career, all these mafia bosses and stuff, are going to get out scot-free because he like killed somebody or paid a drug dealer or something to plant evidence or whatever it was. Right?
It was a similar situation where this guy had killed a girl or something, and there wasn't enough evidence to convict this guy. And so he had a choice to, like, essentially, like, he had to make a choice where, like, I can just kind of let this guy die or let him go free. And he didn't want to let him go free, so he, like, he bent the law to get this guy.
Right. He planted evidence.
Get this guy dead.
Something, whatever he did, right?
Yeah.
And so if it comes out that this is what happened, then all the people he put away for his whole career are going to go free, and that's really bad. But the partner of Al Pacino is like, I'm going to go to jail or lose my career or whatever if I don't come clean. So I'm going to come clean, bro. You suck. You loser. And he's like, I hate you. Like, why would you do this? You're going to ruin my life. You're going to ruin a bunch of other people's lives. All these criminals are going to walk free because you're selfish and you won't uphold the law, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And so in the fog bank during the shootout, Al Pacino sees somebody. He thinks it's Robin Williams, who's the murderer. He thinks it's the murderer in the raincoat, and he shoots him. And then he gets closer, and it's his partner. So his partner's like, oh my gosh, you killed me? You killed me? And then he dies.
Bro!
Dude, like, are you serious? Get away from me.
Are you serious right now? Oh, man.
And so now the movie is solve a murder while covering up a murder. And so he has to, like, he's, like, trying to plant evidence on the actual murderer to cover up his own tracks. And it's like they have to work together, but they're also working against each other. And it's like, ooh.
It's great, dude.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
It was really awesome. And Hilary Swank is in it. And I really like Hilary Swank. She might be one of my favorite actresses. She's great. Have you seen I Am Mother? Good time.
I have not.
Good movie. That's definitely not like a notable Hilary Swank movie, but that's like one of the only other ones I've ever seen. So that's what I'm gonna draw on. But she was good in the movie. It's just not her most popular movie. It's a Netflix movie.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this one, I hadn't seen it either until we did this, and this is probably the most notable watch for me in this whole thing, because I was like, wow, this movie is really good, or at the very least, it worked really well for me personally. Like,
Yeah.
I like a murder mystery, and I hadn't seen this one, and I like a Christopher Nolan murder mystery because this was really good, and I loved the thing. The kind of time manipulation aspect of his filmmaking. In this one, the opening shot, you're watching the opening credits essentially over. You're watching like this white fabric that's like being soaked in blood, and then you see this image of a man scrubbing blood off of a shirt, is what you think at first, which I just remembered how this plays into the thing. You think you keep getting shown this footage of a man scrubbing blood off of a shirt, and then at the end it's revealed that this is Al Pacino putting blood onto a shirt to get this guy convicted for this crime. So he's planting evidence. And I was like, well, that's dope.
Right.
That's a cool reveal. It's simple, but it's a great reveal. I love the aspect of Insomnia, right?
Right.
There are a lot of good, like, I think this is one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies for his editing. Like, there's so many good, the aspect of it constantly being daytime. There's so many just great editing choices where you're never sure what time of day it is. You're never sure how much time has passed from the beginning to the end of the movie. So you're kind of in this state of insomnia with Al Pacino, and it like you have this kind of sense of just unease because you're like, you don't have any frame of reference for where we are in a time frame, you know?
Right.
Yeah, insomnia and paranoia and this sort of thing, like how he's kind of losing his mind while he's trying to cover up a murder, while solve a murder, and he's like planting evidence and trying to, like, he plants evidence and he's like, oh, I should not have planted that there because Robin Williams knows about it. I got to go back, and then they're there, and he's like, he's got to get it. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is in it as the villain, right? This evil killer guy, which is not a role you would expect him to play.
Absolutely.
But I thought he was so good and scary. And I wrote in my in my Letterboxd review,
nice.
He's so just like, he's just so normal scary that it was more scary than if he was like a Jared Leto, like, I'm evil type of person.
He's
you
just
know?
like a dude.
Like,
and that's what's scary.
He's playing a character that exists many times over in our real world. Like, there are so many people like this guy, probably, you know? And that's what's so scary about him.
Almost didn't know he was capable of it.
Yeah.
But then when he like is on the phone with Al Pacino talking about how he killed this girl, and he's just like, she was laughing at me. I wanted her to stop. So I just punched her in the face a bunch of times.
So I hit her until she stopped laughing, and actually she stopped breathing also, and she actually died.
Turns out
accidentally.
I killed her. And I was like, whoa, whoops.
Whoa.
My bad.
Oh, I kind of liked it too. That's weird. Oh,
yeah.
I'm glad
there was just a
I
sense
write
of
a book
ease
about this.
I felt.
Yeah. It was just really, it all really worked for me. I really liked that movie. I liked it a lot more than some of these movies, which is going to upset some people probably.
All right, time.
Because usually, we should say, it's usually like at the bottom of people's Nolan's lists, like Nolan lists. Yeah, people don't like Insomnia in general.
Why not?
Like, they're like, oh, it's boring. It's like, meh. It's like, it's not interesting enough. Whatever. It's not Interstellar, which it's not Interstellar. It's definitely not Interstellar, but it's really good. Okay. Yeah. Now to this one.
For the okay, so Christopher Nolan has transported from movie maker to filmmaker. right?
Mm.
He's now reached notoriety. Okay, he is a famous director. He's got
Hmm.
money now. He's got budgets now. He's got studios now. Okay, and all of a sudden it goes from like from the studio that brought you following. It's from Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think, if I can just interrupt, I think what you're talking about now is probably what happened after The Dark Knight, because I think he wasn't quite to that level yet with Batman Begins. Because if I can bring the DC film perspective, as I often do, this Batman Begins was what year was that? 2006.
Batman Begins hit us up in 2005.
2005. So DC, there hadn't been a Batman movie since Batman and Robin, the George Clooney one with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, the one that's infamous for the bat nipples and all of this stuff. And so they hadn't made a Batman movie in quite a few years, and they were ready to do something new, to reboot. And so they're looking for directors, and I think the story goes, Christopher Nolan just kind of waltzes into the DC offices and gives them his pitch, and it's like a really simple pitch, and he's essentially just like, if you guys trust me, I will make movies for you that will make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
and they were like, all right, let's do it.
I guess.
So yeah, and then what you're talking about, he's kind of shot to stardom with Batman Begins.
And when I was saying is basically like these first three movies feel like indie movies.
Yes.
And then we as soon as we hit this point, I feel like all of Christopher Nolan's, and I'm not saying this in a bad way at all, I feel like they all look the same. Like they have this polish to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They suddenly elevate to like they are clean, they are crisp. We've jumped up a gear is what I'm meaning to say.
He shoots on film, so they all kind of, and I did notice that like they all have a very similar look and feel to them. Mm-hmm. A tangible nature to them.
Yeah. Nolan. So Batman Begins, it's the first Batman movie. It's got Ra's al Ghul in it. I don't know, man. Do we need to talk about the Batman movies?
We don't need to stay on them for long, but let me just I'll give my spiel about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Okay.
Okay. Hit me with the
really
spiel.
quick. Just really quick. I think here's what I think, because you kind of our little teaser, you kind of hinted at like, why did he make these movies? And I genuinely think, like, I'm not saying that he wasn't like passionate about the character. I actually don't know if he was that passionate about Batman, because I think like there's this phrase, one for them, one for me, or one for me, one for them, right? It kind of goes this two ways. And I'm pretty sure that the Dark Knight trilogy was kind of his three for them, because if you look at this list here of all the movies that he made, like after the Dark Knight comes out, he gets to do whatever he wants. He gets these huge budgets to do whatever he wants.
Right.
And so I think he was just like motivated to like, okay, I need to make these movies that, one, make me a household name that everybody will know, and two, give studios the confidence in me so that they can give me money so that I can make freaking Interstellar. Right, guys?
I need to make actual movies now.
Yeah. So I don't think any of the Dark Knight trilogy movies are bad, okay? But I don't like them. I just don't like them very much. I don't like pretty much everything about them that revolves around the character of Batman. I do not like. I don't like the suit. I don't like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne. I don't like him as Batman. I don't like the voice. I don't like the Batmobile, the gadgets, the planes. I don't like any of it. I think it's all just not what I want in Batman movies. And that's extremely subjective, okay? That's just me being like, I have what, if you want to know what I want the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. Everything he does in that movie is what I want, and these are very much just not that. which is fine. It's just not my chosen interpretation of the character of Batman. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just don't think I think they're the least Nolan movies of his Nolan movies, you know?
Yeah.
Like they just
I
don't
would agree.
feel.
They feel like normal movies.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't feel his passion for like film in these movies. Like I think they're all pretty good in their own right. Even The Dark Knight Rises, which a lot of people don't like. Like I think that movie is pretty good and interesting in a lot of ways. But Batman Begins specifically, since we're on it, I don't know if I will ever watch it again. I don't feel that drawn to it. I don't find it that interesting. I don't find myself wanting to go back to it. But yeah, it's the first Batman movie. He goes to the League of Shadows. Ra's al Ghul is there as Liam Neeson. He goes, I don't have to kill you, but I can't kill you, but that doesn't mean I have to save you. And then he kills him.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, interesting choice.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's whatever. I think
I like
they're fine.
Here, I'll give you a positive note for Batman Begins. I like the concept of fear and learning how to deal with your fear and conquer your fear.
Yeah.
And there's that. And the bad guy literally uses fear, right? So like it's like a whole
That's
thing.
kind of what I'm saying, where it's like I think on their own they're pretty good films, but I think because these are the only three in this list where he's like working with. Like he has Oppenheimer, and like The Prestige is based on a book, and like he's working with source material, but Batman is source material that has been used over and over and over again. And so there's his Batman movies are the only ones with like 1-to-1 comparisons and like a lot of scrutiny to them. So I just don't think they hold up in that kind of light. But yeah, I think they have good themes and like great performances, which we'll talk about in the second one. But yeah, Batman Begins is okay.
Okay. Now, on to The Prestige, 2006. I gotta be honest, this one, and let me just preface, it's a good movie. It's been at least 2 years since I watched this one. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it for this. So you're going to have to take the lead,
dude,
on this one, because I know you like it.
David
Bowie is Nikola Tesla. That's all I remember.
He definitely is. And Andy Serkis is his little butler man.
Yeah.
I had seen The Prestige once before, and I rewatched it for this, and I was surprised how much I really loved it. I've talked about in vague terms how I don't, in general, enjoy period pieces for whatever reason. Like, I'm not drawn to movies that are period pieces, like that are set in like early America. I don't know why. It's not my chosen vibe. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just in general, it's like war movies and that sort of like period piece are just not what I'm scrolling past them on streaming services, you know. I'm scrolling
I like
past
a good
those
war
things.
movie.
Yeah. I know you do.
I don't know why.
But you've never been to war, but
fair.
Only people who have been to war can like war movies now. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Prestige. I think it's my favorite. I haven't put much thought into this, but I think it's my favorite Christian Bale performance. Because spoilers again. We're gonna spoil this movie. Yeah. Christian Bale plays two characters in this movie. He plays Borden and Borden. He's playing twins. Okay. And brief plot synopsis. It's early America. Don't remember the year it's supposed to be set in. The light bulb is around. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla are battling it out for electricity and this sort of thing. That's the time period we're in. Yeah. There are not TVs, right? So we got to be entertained by something, right? So we're going to theaters to watch magicians. Here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was doing
you were
magic.
Raising your hand.
No, I was doing magic.
So we got to go see magicians do stuff. So like magicians are like the top of the entertainment ladder. Like this is the biggest thing. So you got Hugh Jackman playing Angier. a French American. I don't know. His name sounds French, but he sounds very American. He's playing a musician. Christian Bale is playing a magician. And they start kind of as young contemporaries, like colleagues, basically, who kind of work in the same theater company with Michael Caine, who's like this older, seasoned magician, they're called sponsors, which are like kind of their managers that help come up with and supervise their tricks.
Right.
And so at the beginning of the movie, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale are kind of working together in this theater company. Hugh Jackman is married to one of the stagehands, like the ladies that dress up in the
lovely ladies.
Dresses, the lovely ladies that get sawed in half and stuff.
Yeah.
And their big trick is the lady gets lowered into, she gets her arms and legs tied by Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, who are plants in the audience, and she gets hoisted up and lowered into this tank of water, and she has to escape before she drowns, right? And that's the magic trick. And she's supposed to, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman are supposed to tie knots that are easily escapable for this trick to fool the audience.
Right.
And Christian Bale is like, I can do this cool knot. I can do a really cool knot that will impress people. Right? I can do this cool knot.
We already have a knot that works.
And the girl's like, yeah, do it. That'll be fun. A challenge. Because they're just kind of in the monotony. Like, we're doing this every night. It's whatever.
Right.
So she gets lowered in the tank, and she can't get out, and she drowns.
Oh, my God.
And Christian Bale is essentially responsible because he ties this knot that she's not used to. And Hugh Jackman's like, you killed my wife!
You killed
he
my
doesn't
wife!
He doesn't actually act that angry about it. He's just kind of like, you killed my wife. What knot did you tie? What knot did you tie?
Yeah.
And that's kind of through the whole movie. He's trying to figure out what knot did this guy, what knot did he use?
Yeah.
I don't know what knot he used.
A bowling? Square?
So that's the inciting incident that sets these guys at odds, and they're enemies. They're battling magicians. Mm-hmm. They hate each other. Christian Bale hates Hugh Jackman because he killed his wife. I mean, Christian Bale, I don't know why he hates Hugh Jackman so much, but throughout the whole movie, they're going back and forth. They hate each other.
Doesn't Hugh Jackman, like, shoot him?
He does, yeah. Later in the movie, Christian Bale,
I don't think Christian really cared that much until he got shot.
Yeah, that was part of the issue.
Part of the beef.
He's doing this trick called the bullet catch or whatever, and there's like, he puts a bullet in a gun, but he doesn't actually put a bullet in a gun, and then it's in his hand, he catches it, whoop. Mm-hmm. But then Hugh Jackman's there. He's wearing a fake beard, and he goes in there, and he puts a bullet in the gun, and then he just shoots his hand off. He shoots a couple fingers off of Christian Bale. And then Hugh Jackman is essentially trying to figure out how he can beat Christian Bale for the title of Best Magician. So he goes to Nikola Tesla, and is like, hey, can you build me a machine that will make me the best magician in the world? And he's like, yes, I've actually built a magical cloning machine that you can use to literally clone yourself. And I'm just going to give this to you, and then I'm going to leave.
Yeah. So
he gives him this cloning machine, and Christian Bale's Borden, his big trick is
Vanishing Man,
there's like the Vanishing Man. He has two kind of closets on the side of the stage, and he goes to one side of the stage. He throws a ball to the other side of the stage. He gets in the closet, and while the ball's bouncing to the other side, he exits from the complete opposite side of the stage to catch the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, oh, how does he do it?
It must be real magic.
You find out later he's just a twin, and his twin's in the other thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Michael Caine suspects immediately. He's just like, oh, he's using a double. Like, he just has another person who looks like him. But then they're like, but he looks exactly the same. And no one ever is like, maybe he is exactly the same. Maybe he's his brother or what.
If they didn't know too much about twins at that point in time.
Maybe. But then...
So yeah, at first Hugh Jackman just finds a guy that looks exactly like him because it's just Hugh Jackman playing a second character. He's just like this kind of smarmy drunk guy who's just like,
happens to look exactly like this guy at the same time.
Exactly like him. And people, he's like, this isn't working, so I gotta go get a magic machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, the kind of I'll spare you all the details, but like the thing I like about it so much is you're watching these three men, two Christian Bales and a Hugh Jackman, just get completely. They're all terrible people. They're just awful. All three of them. Like they're the two Christian Bales. One of them is nicer than the other one. One of them falls in love with the girl from
Hulk.
I don't remember. I'm not the girl from Hulk. It's not her, but
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall. She's in Iron Man 3.
That's who I'm thinking of, yes.
And the other Christian Bale falls in love with Scarlett Johansson, which I forgot she was in this.
Yep, she's in it. Sure.
The one that falls in love with Rebecca Hall is nicer than the one that falls in love with Scarlett Johansson. But both of them are accessories to murder, and they're just terrible people. But one of them has a daughter, and so you're kind of rooting for him at the end. But they're all just terrible people, and Hugh Jackman specifically, like I love the idea of just watching these people get completely consumed with themselves, and like he just gets so like I have to be the best and I have to beat this other guy, just for no real reason other than I want to be the best and to be remembered, essentially.
Right.
And it's just ultimately his undoing after he clones himself like 100 times or whatever.
Right. Because you never know. You never know which one is the real one, which one's the clone.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like the whole thing, the whole magic trick of it all, like the Christopher Nolan aspect of it is like there's so many details that you're so rewarded for, like the first line in the movie is, "Are you watching closely?" From Michael Caine. And that line comes up. That line comes up a lot because that's what magicians say when they start their act. It's like, "Are you watching closely?" And then they'll do a thing.
Right.
And that's the prestige. And
isn't the first shot of the movie all of Hugh Jackman's clones' hats?
Yes.
Like there's like a mass grave of Hugh Jackman's, and all of their top hats are here in this mass grave.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really rewarding to watch it the second time because there's so many details, especially with this is why it's probably my favorite Christian Bale performance, is because when you are watching closely, you can tell which Christian Bale he's playing.
Yeah.
But it's subtle. But if you are watching closely, you can tell. It's just really, really good.
Right.
And the direction is great. The whole thing feels like a magic trick, and it's so fun. I just really like it. Wow. I think it's really good.
That's great. So we're here. We've reached the big one. For a lot of people. Yeah. This is their favorite movie, their favorite Christopher Nolan movie, their favorite Batman movie, their favorite Joker movie, if you will. This is Heath Ledger's The Joker. Just kidding. It's called The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. Yep. And
everybody loves this movie. Man.
It's really good. I think this one, it's about Joker's plan. All right, This is the premise, right? We have Joker's plan. Do I look like a kind of guy with a plan? Yeah, you do. You got a crazy plan. You got a bunch of contingency plans. You got A through Z plans. And it doesn't matter what happens. You got it all covered. So it looks like your plan. It looks like your plan is going to work no matter what. It looks like you predicted everything because you spend enough time planning all the plans so that no matter what happens, the plan works. And everybody's in on it because he's got the plans. Everything works. And that's it. That's the whole movie.
That's the whole movie. Rachel's there.
For half of it.
Harvey Dent is there. Gary Oldman's Jack Gordon is there.
Right.
Yeah, like literally, the phrase "everybody and their mom loves this movie." Like that's literally true. Everybody and their mom loves this movie. My mom likes this movie. She doesn't even like Batman that much. My mom likes The Dark Knight. I know people who don't even like movies that much, who just really like The Dark Knight because it's just this thing that everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm over here and I'm like, no,
guys,
no, The Dark Knight's really good. Like everything I said, like I don't like. Especially in this one, his Batman voice is. It's just terrible. It's terrible. I hate the suit. I hate his voice.
I'm not wearing
the bat. I hate the Bat Cave in this one, the big LED room.
Swear to me.
I like Michael Caine. I like Harvey Dent. I like Jim Gordon. I like obviously Heath Ledger as the Joker. Probably the best
Gary Oldman.
comic book. Gary Oldman. What did I say?
You said Jim Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
His character's name.
I like Heath Ledger's Joker. Probably the best superhero comic book movie villain performance on screen. Probably. I'm fine with saying that. I think that's probably true.
It's amazing.
I can't imagine a better Joker performance on the big screen.
Look at me.
Yeah, he's just so good. Every choice they made with him, I think, was just spot on. I love his the introduction scene is so good. The heist, the bank heist or whatever, he pulls off the mag or whatever. Stranger. And
it's
I love
probably the most quotable Nolan movie.
Probably, yeah.
Right? For the mass audience. Of course, I could probably give you Interstellar script right now, but that's a different beast.
I love the scene where he walks into the where all the evil guys are meeting. He just waltzes in there. You want to see a magic trick? I'm going to make this pencil disappear, blah, blah, blah. I like when he goes, you think you can just sneak in here and we'll let you walk away? And he goes, yeah. I love it. He's so good.
Yeah.
Every, like, the way, just that line, he says, yeah. But everything about his body language and the way his face looks and the face he makes when he says that line is just like, he's just on another level, like, the whole time. Incredible.
It's super crazy good.
You remove Heath Ledger from this movie, and the movie means nothing to me. I'll never watch it again.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to be the guy who's like, well, if this movie, I've said this before, if this movie was different, I would like it more. You know, that's
you
not
say that about anything.
That's not relevant. Yeah. You know, like if this movie was different, it would be better. Yeah, like maybe it would be, but like that's not the point.
Right.
Like I think as it stands, like this movie is good. Heath Ledger's performance is a huge aspect of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about the action scenes. The anytime Batman is like close quarters punching people is awful. I hate it. I think it looks so bad.
They need to take a note from The Kingsman. That's good action.
I haven't seen The Kingsman, but I've heard the action is really good. I think Nolan does car chases really well. I think where Batman's starts in the Batmobile and then he gets on the bike and then Joker's in the semi. Like that scene is sick. Sick as heck. Hit me. That scene is great, guys.
Yeah. With the big truck flipping.
Yeah. I have this bit where I'm like, oh, the Dark Knight's bad, but like it's not actually bad. I think it's good. I think it's great.
It's pretty great.
It's whatever.
You guys, come on.
It's pretty great. Yeah. That's all I have to say about it.
We talked about it like over a year ago. It's fine.
Yeah.
Check out episode 3, a Batman discussion.
Actually, don't though.
Yeah, maybe not. I was
very tired.
That was the episode that killed our entire podcast, probably. Because we have like 100 listens, 80 listens, 20 listens, and it never recovered.
Just piddling down from there. It's okay. It's fine.
We don't do this for you guys.
We're having a great time.
Yeah. We're moving on to Inception, which now we kind of, with the exception of Dark Knight Rises, we're in the like the modern Nolan era, where people are like, this movie was really good. I just don't understand why. Where like you watch the movie and it's just like, what happened? How many times do I have to watch this movie till I get what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you finally get it, you're like, it was amazing. I loved it every single time I've ever watched it. It was perfect. You know?
Yeah. This was when like The Dark Knight and Inception were my like the first Nolan movies I saw, and was my Nolan experience until, or that was the beginning of my Nolan experience.
Yeah,
was these
I'd
two.
say the same.
And like, yeah, I think I was. What year did it come out? 2000.
It's gonna be
2010.
2010 probably.
2010.
Let me see.
2010.
Yeah, 2000 and 2010.
Because I remember seeing it like as a young middle schooler, probably a teenager, and just thinking like Inception, like, oh my, like this is the craziest movie I've ever seen. Like, bros, can you believe this thing? Like, I don't even understand it. I'm watching YouTube videos. It's a dream and a dream and a dream. And it's like, this might actually be my hottest take, guys, because like I watched it again for this, and I haven't rewatched it in a long time, and I think I know why. Like, I rewatched it for this, and I was like, this is good, but it's not actually as good as I thought it was. I don't know if it's actually as good as we all made it out to be, especially after just seeing his later work here. As I'm looking at the list, I'm like, wow, banger, banger, banger. I think it's almost too simple now. Like, as I'm like, and this could just be like, because I've seen it so many times. I've probably seen this one, and I've probably seen The Dark Knight the most, but I've probably seen Inception second most.
Yeah.
It might just be because of that, but like, and here's what I mean. I don't think we need to explain the plot of Inception. I think everybody's seen it.
We're good. They get it.
There's the great scene that everybody thinks about when you think Inception. You think of the first time Leo and Ariadne are in her dream, and the things start exploding, and she takes the city folds onto itself, and they walk up a wall and all this stuff. That's what you think of when you think of Inception. That's like at the beginning of the movie, and then the whole, like, the rules of the world are told to you, where like you can't actually do that stuff, because if you do that stuff, the projections will figure it out and kill you. So in order to continue with the movie, we have to stop doing the cool stuff. And that really bothered me this time around, because that scene is awesome. And then from that point, when you're in a dream, you're just in New York City. You're just in a building. You know, it's just normal heist stuff from that point on. Like, there's still like dream stuff, like a train, like the train that drives through the city, the floating when the car is falling and they're floating in the hotel room. And that action scene is great, but it just
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
And on top of that, like, they explain how it works from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. They explain it every single scene. I feel like they're explaining how this thing works. Yeah. And it just is it's too much. It's too simple to keep. The premise is simple. Like, and we keep explaining it, and I'm like, it just really bothered me.
I think people get confused with like the layers, I think, right? But at the end of the day, it's just, we're going into this guy's head to make him think a different way. It's Persona, if you've ever played that video game. But we have to go real deep to get, because every time you have to change something about him, like, this is a complex idea, so we have to change multiple things. So each layer is them changing a different aspect of his personality, or making his opinion of a person different, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple layers to it, right? But the other thing that is different, or like confusing maybe, is that time slows down each layer you go.
Yeah.
And so people, I guess, get confused. But in this way, all the time is moving forward at the same. Like, there's no forward or backwards in this movie. Yeah. Sorry, there's no backwards in this movie. It's only forwards. There's no back and forth, I guess is what I meant to say. But like, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's pretty great. But I do agree that the like Doctor Strange of it, they have their little fun. They're like, hey, look at what we could have done. But yeah, the projections. They will get you.
Yeah.
So we have to.
And
be
again,
boring.
like, if this movie was different, it would be better. Like, sure, like, I might enjoy this movie better if they kind of went a different direction with it. But I think as it is, like, it's still a good movie. I think if I can speak from my own experience, like when I was a kid, teenager watching it, like I think the part of the reason people are so confused first time watching it is because the heist that they're doing, the kind of inverted heist where they're placing something in his mind, the motivation for that is explained by Ken Watanabe, and the guy he has a thick accent, and it's a Christopher Nolan movie. You can't hear the words that he's saying, and you can't quite understand what he's saying.
Right.
And so,
I need to pull up the script.
but what he says is the most important detail.
Important.
The most important detail in the history of Christmas. That's what came to mind. It's from the Santa Claus 2. The Escape Clause. No, that's not what it is. What is it? Anyway.
Santa Claus.
You know what I mean, though? I think that's honest. Like, for me, that was why I was so confused, because I didn't know what they were doing, because I couldn't understand what he was saying at the beginning of the movie. And the whole, like, when they get into the vault and Cillian Murphy pulls the pinwheel out of the safe, like, that's the one thing that they don't explain over and over again, is like what that actually did. Like, they explain the dreaming and how they're getting into dreams and why they're going into dreams and Inception as a concept. But like it's kind of, the pinwheel thing is a subtle, like, it's just kind of a subtle reveal of like what they did and how they did it. Which I think, like, those little details that really just kind of mess up if you're not paying attention, you're like, I don't know what just happened.
What is this? Why does this matter? Why is Cillian Murphy crying?
I was gonna say first Cillian Murphy performance in Christopher Nolan, but no, that's definitely not true. He was the actual villain in Batman Begins.
He's been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies with Christopher Nolan, at least. He's not.
I think another reason this one doesn't. It's not as high on my list as some of these, is because, like, I really genuinely don't care about the main characters that much. Like, you're given reasons to care about Cobb, like he has his kids and all this stuff,
right?
But I don't ever really feel that emotionally invested in any of the rest of them. No. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy are in it, and like, you don't know anything about them, where they're from, how they even met Cobb, like how they get involved in this whole thing. Like, all the things that I feel like they could have, like, added to it or like explained more, like, where did you meet these people? They spent being like, oh, this is how the kick works for the 6th time. Like, give him the kick. We have to explain this again. Like, we know how that freaking kick works.
Yeah.
We got it. You push him over and he wakes up. It's so simple.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's good, but it's, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
It's the first time. What do you mean? It's the first time that Nolan got a chance to really experiment. So he plays it simple. Everybody loves it, and it opened the door for.
Yeah, that could be true. Yeah.
It opened the door for crazy stuff to happen now, right? Then we get, we get to go into the crazies here in a minute.
Yeah. Because this is the other side of the coin from, like, a Tenet, where it's like, maybe could you explain this to me? But we'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, hit me with The Dark Knight Rises. Actually,
oh gosh,
I'm gonna hit you right now. It's
Please
the
do.
worst one. The Dark Knight Rises. Not only is it the worst Batman movie that I've ever watched, it's the worst Nolan movie I've ever watched. I'm gonna put it at the bottom by a mile. And it's for a very simple piece of information.
Sure.
There's like a twist in this movie that
Yes.
Bane is not the child who climbed out of the prison.
Yeah.
And instead, it's this random person that's kind of been in the movie.
It's Joey
Right?
King.
Yes. Yeah. Joe. Yeah, exactly. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. You watch the movie a second time, a third time, when they do a flashback to the kid who climbed out, it's a girl, Like
Yeah.
it's not that big of a
That's
reveal.
surprising. Yeah.
But it's just like, who is this? Why are we doing this? It doesn't make any sense for the bad guy to not be the bad guy. And it just kind of, it's like, oh, wait, he's Bane, this amazing villain, is the side character now?
Yeah, because you're kind of given reasons to kind of care about him, or like you at least understand his motivations until they're like, actually, that was a different character.
Yeah.
So you're like, wait, who is this guy then?
Bane
Where
is
did he
just
come
a
from?
random dude.
He's just a random guy. Yeah.
So
And you can't really,
it's
Anyway,
irredeemable
keep going.
for me.
Here's what I like about The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, tell me.
I think it's because we probably, I don't know. I've seen the Michael Keaton Batman movies. I haven't seen the Val Kilmer one or the George Clooney one. I like that. I like The Dark Knight Rises that it like, which I wish they would have. A lot of people's complaint is that there's not a lot of Batman in it. Like they're like, oh, he has a broken knee and back, and for a lot of this, and then once he fixes his knee with a robot leg, essentially, Bane breaks his back, and then he's thrown in the pit, and then he's not Batman again for a while, and then he has to come back and be Batman again. And none of that is great. What I'm saying is, I think it was a good idea to do something where I'm interested in a story where Bruce Wayne is just broken and like doesn't really want to be Batman anymore, because he's like what happened with Harvey Dent and all of that. Like, he's just a kind of broken, like recluse of a person that has to like find a reason to keep fighting other than because he doesn't have his parents' revenge thing anymore because he solved that in Batman Begins and all that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna randomly throw this in vis-a-vis Iron Man 3.
Yes,
That was
the comparison.
Iron Man 3 is a better version of, like, it's what The Dark Knight Rises should be. It's a movie
You're
about
100%
It's
correct.
a movie about the superhero who is tired of being the superhero, needs to be the superhero, then can't be the superhero.
That's right.
And has to figure out how
So
to
true.
do it without his tools.
Yep.
Except for the end where he uses all of his tools to great effect.
Yeah.
But
I don't like, again, like, I don't like any of the Batman stuff in The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's all bad. I think the suit is still bad. I don't like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. What were they thinking? I don't know. I like Anne Hathaway a lot. Don't think she was a good choice of the character.
she's pretty good in the next movie.
She's really good in the next movie. She's a great actress. But I don't think she was a great Catwoman. Ra's al Ghul and his daughter Talia al Ghul, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
Maul.
played by Marion Cotillard. They're not supposed to be European. They're supposed to be of Asian descent. So I don't really know why they went in that direction. It's a little bit strange. Christopher Nolan kind of, one of the criticisms of Christopher Nolan is he doesn't write women very generously.
Mhm.
He kind of gives them the short end of the stick, if you know what I mean. He kills them a lot, is what I'm saying. Is people he likes to put them in situations where they get killed. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but that's one of the criticisms of him. I just think, in the whole Bane, I might like watching The Dark Knight Rises more than the other two because it's just a kind of a silly movie because Bane is so silly.
It's true.
His voice is ridiculous. And I didn't remember how silly it is. Like,
Maybe he's wondering why you would shoot a man before
The
throwing
trigger
him out
man.
the plane. The trigger man is a mystery.
Like, why would the guy in that pit sound like that? It's just it's such a weird choice. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird movie.
It's a bomb.
Oh my gosh! And the Joseph Gordon-Levitt of it all.
Oh my goodness! What are they doing?
She goes. You should use your birth name, Robin. And then he sees a Robin suit. Robin's name isn't Robin, guys. We've talked about this before. His name is Dick. I've said this before. And every time I'm just like, you really? Who thought that was a good idea, Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Robin's name isn't Robin.
If they went, you should really use your first name, Dick. Then
well, I know, yeah.
Most people would be like, what?
They could have gone with Tim Drake. They could have gone with the other one, Damien. I don't know. If they're gonna do anything, Bruce Wayne. You should use your real name, Batman. Like,
we're using our made-up names now.
Okay, I like kind of giving Bruce Wayne a definitive happy ending.
Yeah.
Like it's set up at the beginning where Michael Caine's like, I had this dream where I would go to this cafe in Venice and I would look across the room and you would be there
we
with
wouldn't
a wife
say
and maybe a
anything.
kid, and we wouldn't say anything. We would just know that you're happy and whatever. And then at the end that happens and it's like, wow.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
sweet. Because you don't often get like just a nice definitive like this character is over now. Like he's reached his happy ending. Like that's very sweet. I like
Absolutely.
that.
That's true. I do like that quite a bit.
But the rest of the movie is it's fine. It's not great.
It's like one of those that you put on while you're cooking food or something, and like you say the funny lines when they come by, and you're like, I had fun.
I like the scene where he goes into the stock exchange, and the guy's like, what are you doing there? There's no money here, and he just goes, throws him into a wall.
He's like, well, why are all these people here?
Why are all of you here? It's so funny. Anyway,
there's no money here.
Then he goes and makes one of the best movies ever made. Go ahead and just take us into the next movie.
Literally from the bottom to the top. Interstellar comes out in 2014. I am PG-13 at this point, so I go to the theater with my sister, and my life changed. This movie is so good. I've talked about it plenty.
It's your favorite movie.
It's not only is it the best Nolan movie, it is literally my favorite movie. I remember the first time I said that out loud, like I told somebody like, "Oh, I like Interstellar. I like Star Wars as a franchise more, but I like Interstellar as my favorite standalone movie." I was like, I'm very sophisticated in this way. And so, but like, you look at Letterboxd specifically, Interstellar is the movie with the most favorites, or like in your top 4 or whatever. On your Letterboxd profile, you can choose 4 movies to put in your favorites.
Yeah.
That will display when people look at your profile, and it's the one with the most favorites on all things, right? So it's not an unpopular opinion to say that this is your favorite movie.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm like unoriginal or anything. I think we can all say it's pretty good.
Well, I think
to
counter that, there are a lot of people that criticize this movie quite a bit. I think a lot of people have the criticism that it either doesn't make sense. People are like, it doesn't make sense. It has a sad ending. I hate that. It's about love being this thing that connects everything. Like, that's dumb. Like, I've heard those criticisms a lot. People just aren't into it, but a lot of people do like it. You're totally right. I sent you a screen recording after I rewatched this movie of me moving Interstellar from my number 4 favorite movie to my number 2 favorite movie.
Yes.
I moved it above Star Wars A New Hope and the other one.
Blade Runner?
No, Blade Runner's still number 1, and then Interstellar's number 2.
You have Spider-Man and...
what was it?
I don't remember now. But it's just...
It was up there.
Yeah, for people who say that like the plot being about love is lame, that's sad, and I feel sad for you. And for people that complain that this movie doesn't make sense, that's weird. This is like one of the more simple movies to understand when it comes to
for sure.
like complicated plot. Okay, the theory of relativity does not make any sense. I fully agree with that.
Sure.
How can moving fast or standing close to a black hole make time feel different? It's time. That doesn't make any sense. But okay, we can deal with that. It's real, I guess.
Physics and
no
stuff.
No one has observed the like actual relativity, so we don't know if it's even real.
It's theoretical, right?
Yeah. Hence the theory of relativity. But it has changed a lot of people and proven things and helped predict where stars and black holes are. It's so like it's real. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a doctorate in physics. I can't explain that. But like the idea of solving gravity and stuff, that's all made up, right? So it's not, we don't have to worry about explaining that. Just like the dream machine isn't real. It's like it's the part of the Nolan movie that like he uses this thing, this technology, this futuristic aspect, this Black Mirror thing to tell a story about something else, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of the point of sci-fi, and like
it's
movies like this is like you use the future and these weird aspects, these very cerebral things to tell a simple story about characters and like what it means to be human and how we love and who we are and blah blah blah. Like that's kind of the whole point, and that's why I love sci-fi more than anything else, because it's you get to watch these cool things, but also like underneath, it's about love, man. It's about love.
It's science fiction, because people complain about like the one line that people complain about is Anne Hathaway's like, you can't do that, or somebody's like, you can't do that, it's impossible, and Matthew McConaughey goes, but it's necessary, and then he does it, and people are like, that's a dumb line, that's not realistic, that's not how it works. If it's impossible, it's impossible. Like, but also it's a fiction movie. It's made up. Like, okay, I don't know what it's like. I don't know, why do we get so I'm not getting caught up on those.
And I think in that specific moment too, she's just like, it's impossible.
Right, exactly.
Like, you're not gonna do that. Like,
there's no way, man.
Yeah, it's not like literally like you will fail. You're guaranteed to fail. It's like there's no way you could do that.
Exactly.
He's just like, okay, but if I don't, we die anyway. So I'm gonna do it, and then he does it, and that's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah,
arguably.
And I think, the other criticism, like people talking about like, oh, love connects everything, and because I remember seeing it when I was PG-13, PG-14, 14 years old ish. I didn't understand at first what the whole thing at the end where he's in the
Tesseract.
The Tesseract, they call it. I didn't quite understand why that existed, you know? Mm-hmm. He does explain it, and that's another criticism. People are like, I think he explains it too much, but I
don't.
It's love. They're us. It's not them. It's us. That sort of thing.
We put us here.
I think it's fun. We put us here.
Yeah.
But I think like after rewatches, like I think it does make sense. I think this theoretical idea of 4-dimensional beings in the future, like theoretically, could use a feeling as love to connect a 3-dimensional person to all of these moments in time, because even Matt Damon makes an appearance and he explains kind of like our love for our children is what like essentially keeps us alive, or love for others essentially keeps us alive, what drives us to keep fighting when we're close to death.
Us one step further.
And then that he tells you that, and then they show you that by being like, yes, like Matthew McConaughey is in this place, and like when literally all of humanity depends on it, it's one man's love for his daughter that like connects everyone and saves everybody, right?
Amazing.
And that's a beautiful thing, you know? It's amazing.
Wow. To put it into words like that, exactly how I feel about this movie, that's amazing. Well done.
I love that. I love how it man, like I forgot how much I love this movie because I hadn't rewatched it in a while, and it was at my number 4, and now it's at my number 2 because it's just so. It's the vibes are just off the charts, guys. Like when they go into space. Also Hans Zimmer's best score. It's his best score. Literally, probably the best score ever.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know, but it's definitely Hans Zimmer's best.
Yeah. Oh no,
the score just like good. Pops off with these like when they go into space and like they're approaching Saturn or Jupiter. I think it's Saturn because the rings.
Yeah. There's
a shot of Saturn with this music that's like just one little piano note next to another piano note. Bing, boom. It's just I'm just like I'm here for science fiction, guys. This is great. Cool. Yeah, everything about it is just so.
There's
so
this
good.
moment, and not the airlock moment. Haha. There was a moment.
Bang.
Yeah. Where right after they go to the first planet, right after they play mountains, right? Oh, did you know that the tempo of the clicks is an hour or year back on Earth or whatever they say? You know. The factoid,
little factoid trivia.
Vis-a-vis Aragorn
trivia
kicks the helmet and breaks his toe or whatever. That's a real scream of pain. I hate stuff like that, dude. It's so annoying.
Movie trivia.
Yeah. Did you know?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Anyway, they go up the wave, they come down the wave, and the engines are flooded. You have to let it breathe. Says that's Case.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in there and they're arguing and stuff, and then their argument kind of ends, and Matthew McConaughey takes his helmet off and he takes a second to breathe, and he's like, nah.
Yeah, he totally does that.
That's right. Like one of my favorite movie moments. It's like nah. It's so funny. Every single time I watch the movie, I rewatch that part over and over again because it's so funny. He's just like, nah.
It's so authentic. It's like I believe that he would do that. Nah. Yeah.
Because he just lost a guy. The planet's trash. They wasted a bunch of fuel. They're wasting time.
And
it's just
the moment where he like this rewatch specifically like really destroyed me when they went back up to the ship after being stuck on the planet, and he starts playing the video recordings from his children, and just like I was a mess. Like that moment really hit me this time around for whatever reason, just being probably a little bit more in touch with my emotions these days.
Mm-hmm. Shout out.
It was just like the tragedy, because you really feel like you're with him in this you're with Coop in this moment where like we just went down to this planet when his daughter was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like we were just there, and now she's grown, Jessica Chastain. It's just like
she's the same age as him.
Absolutely, just tragic.
Yeah,
and brutal.
It's like you're sitting there watching this person watch his kids grow up.
His performance, dude. Like the emotions he shows, were like he's proud, and he's laughing because he's so proud of his son because he finds a wife and he has a son, and then that son dies, and like that sucks. They have another son, and
Grandpa
then
dies,
and he goes from like being so proud and laughing to just like bawling, and then
missed every
Chastain, and then he grabs the TV screen, and then the audio cuts, and it's just like, oh my gosh, dude! Oh my gosh, that's what movies are made for, guys.
Yeah.
And it sucks that there are so many people that are just like, this movie's dumb. It's about love. Blah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
This movie's boring. Blah.
It's just like, and I just to literally keep talking about this moment when he's watching the TV, because this is probably the best part of the movie in my opinion.
It probably is,
it's right there. He gets this one video from Murph at the end, right? And it's like she brings up, she's like, it's my birthday today, and it's a special one because you once told me that we would be the same age when you came back, and now I'm the age that you were when you left. And it cuts to him, and he is just like he ugly crying.
Yeah,
Like,
his face
Tobey
is
Maguire, like
Yeah,
just destroyed. And if you're not crying with him while you're watching that, you're not a
Yeah.
human being, and you're
It
probably a
is tragic,
sociopath who feels no emotions whatsoever. Because that is insane. It's
It is
so
insane.
well done, and they're both like you can feel them through the TV. It's like, I mean, love is transcending time and space right now, you
It's
guys.
transcending time and space, guys.
Yeah,
And
just like
Hathaway
gravity.
is drawn halfway across the universe to this guy.
She
even
knows
for the slightest
is probably
chance,
dead.
is probably dead. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's
we
amazing.
love, guys.
And then we get the little monologue at the end of the movie where Murph is talking about her at Miller's planet. She's breathing in the new atmosphere under her new sun and her new home. And it's like that work because they're going there, right? That's where we're going. And it's like, give me a sequel? Question mark. Like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Yeah, but it's amazing.
Man. I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, it's just like we can't keep talking about Interstellar. But I think like this is like what we're talking about is the reason why I think it is Nolan's best movie, because there is an aspect of the human. This movie is the most emotional, like human emotion exists in this movie, where it doesn't quite. He's not an emotional director as much as he is like a visual, conceptual director in general. But Interstellar, he puts all of his Nolan stuff together, plus just hard hitting human emotional drama that just kills you inside, because people. That's why people are like people. My mom, for example, doesn't like watching this movie because you get to the end and Murph is an old lady who's about to die and all of that stuff, and that's, quote, a sad ending. And people don't like sad endings.
It's
but
literally filled with hope, you guys. I don't understand.
And it's also the point is like
he saved everyone.
He saved them because of love, and he is back with her.
Yeah,
and she persevered because of love. Even as human as love is, also like as much as she hated him, like the love that she had for him was still there all along. Like it's just I don't know what to tell you. It's just the best one.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then we should move on to this one.
Okay, Dunkirk, guys. Oh my gosh, Dunkirk is so good too.
Is it?
Yep, and that's it. We're not going to talk about it at all because Jordan probably has something negative to say about it because it's a war movie.
Yeah,
and he's like,
it is a war movie.
This movie bored me. Yeah,
it did bore me.
I really like this movie. Tom Hardy flies a plane, and looks really good doing it. He's the only actor I can name other than Kenneth Branagh. Is Barry Keoghan in this one? No, that's
Barry Keoghan is in it, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Harry
he
Styles
is. Oh yeah,
he's on the boat.
Movie. Yeah, Harry Styles is in this movie. Come on, guys.
Yep.
It's just a good time. Cillian Murphy plays a scary guy.
That's
a
true.
PTSD soldier. I think I just like the editing in this one. I think is my biggest thing, and it looks good.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, let me say why I don't like it, and then because I want to hear why you like it, because people don't really talk about this one that much, so I want to know what people like about it. But I do like watching it. It is like it's a beautiful movie. He and this is very Christopher Nolan. Like he's shooting on film, he's shooting on location.
Shot this one on IMAX.
Like I said, like these people, all of these, like the extras in it, like they are on a beach. These people are on a boat that's on water. Tom Hardy is flying an airplane. No, I don't know if he is. I don't think he is. But
they
shot
know what I mean? Like those planes flying.
They shot the planes flying. Like every set piece, every character they all feel real because they're on a beach.
Yeah.
For real. You know what I mean? Like it's a small thing, but like it feels like it really feels like you're in this battle with them because everything feels so authentic, and like because it is authentic because they're standing on this beach. All these people are standing on this bridge, all the helmets and stuff, you know. That shot.
I will say,
I love that about it. Yeah,
just to break your immersion oh so slightly, several rows of those people on the beach are cardboard cutouts.
Fair enough. That's fair.
So there is that, but
yeah,
yes, despite that, those cardboard cutouts are on a beach.
That's right. That's right. They
so
are on that
right
beach.
right back to your reality.
Right back at me. And I like and appreciate the technique and the idea of making, this movie's like what, an hour and a half, hour 45. It's like the whole thing is this, the battle at Dunkirk. You're not given anything before, you're not giving anything after really, but you're given the idea of you're watching this same moment in time from different moments in time, from different characters' perspectives. And I like that concept, but I sleep. I think it is extremely boring. All of the characters, which, okay, I'm going to say this and then I know what the defense is, but like all of the characters are completely without personality. I don't care about any of them. I don't know any of their names. I'm not given any reason to care about these people. I know that's harsh because it's a real battle that happened, but I'm also watching a movie. The defense is like, this is a realistic war movie. Like, people that are in war, like, they're not just going to stop to talk about their life story and tell each other their names. Like, they're in a war scenario. I get all that.
It's not Saving Private Ryan.
Right. It's just not, like, what it is good, but it's also just not a movie that I enjoyed that much and probably won't watch again. But
brutal. I
think it, like, tell me what you like about it, because I think there's so much to it. I'm not trying to say it's bad. It's just not. Yeah. It's not for me. Not for me.
I don't know. Part of this is definitely because I like war movies and I'm into period pieces and such of the like. So I get like there's an automatic like +2 to the roll, just because I like the time period and what they're talking about, and I really enjoy like watching anti-war movies, where they like show the horrors of war and stuff, because I am anti-war, you guys.
Let's
make peace, But it's just like, I really enjoy the editing and the way that they piece together all the different parts of the story, because they're all happening simultaneously over like a weekend or whatever. Yeah. Like 2 or 3 days. And you follow this character, and then you follow this other guy, the pilot, and then you have the kid who's just trying to escape, and then you have the veteran and his son and their friend on the boat going to the battle to save people. And then you have Kenneth Branagh standing on the dock watching it all happen at the same time, waiting for things to occur. And so you get all these pieces, and they're kind of disjointed at first, and you don't really understand like when things are happening, because there's day and night and day.
It's hard to follow, yeah.
And so at first, like, you're like, wait, is this today? Is this tomorrow? You watch people like wash up on shore, and you're like, why are they washing up on shore? And then later you see the boat coming back from having exploded and sinking and all this stuff, and you're like, oh, okay. But then you see that happened like twice, because there's like one boat that sinks, and then they got on a dinghy and they go out, and there's another boat that also sinks, and that one happens at daytime. So like, I get it. Yeah. There's a lot of like, what's going on, confusion. So once you piece it together at the end, they kind of like all converge at the same point in time, and you can see those characters not interact with each other per se. I mean, the veteran does meet the young guy that we follow, but the pilot doesn't interact with anyone else other than what's his face from Shaun of the Dead, his brother. He looks like that guy, Simon Pegg's brother. He looks like he could be Simon Pegg's brother. I don't even know if they're related.
Interesting.
He only ever talks to that guy in the whole movie. And but he flies over, and Kenneth Branagh sees him, and everybody cheers for the plane because he keeps shooting people down even though he's out of gas, and makes a turn with no gas and no power and doesn't lose a lot of altitude, which isn't realistic, but that's fine. And then he lands on the ground and burns his plane and stuff so that they can't reverse engineer the cool plane that they're talking
Great
about.
Shot. Beautiful shot.
It's the poster I used because it is a good shot. And so it's just like I just have a lot of fun watching it because it's interesting and it makes me anxious to go to war, get drafted, because I'm like, I don't want to die that way. I don't want to die that way. I don't want to die that way.
Yeah, hopefully that never happens.
Yeah,
to,
it won't.
to you or me.
I wouldn't clear the thing. I'm disabled, so it's all good.
Oh, fair enough. I'm colorblind, so
nice. You're covered.
Count me out. Yeah, I'm covered, guys.
I just think it's fun. So I have a bit of a soft spot for it. It's not the best movie he's ever made.
Sure. I think it might be. Well, I don't think it's the best looking. I think Interstellar is the best looking one, but it's definitely one of the better, quote, good cinematography movies.
Yeah.
It has a lot of nice shots. But
I love a good nice shot. Okay, Tenet time.
Oh man, let's talk about Tenet time.
Okay.
It's a long episode, dude. This is fun though.
We're fine. I'm having fun. And it's about to get longer because I got to explain the plot of Tenet to you, apparently.
Yeah.
So tell me why you don't understand, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
Yeah. So it's like this. The whole Tenet, it came out in the pandemic times. It was the first movie that was supposed to bring people back to theaters. I saw it in theaters.
Didn't it come out in 2020?
Did, yeah. 2020. It absolutely obliterated my eardrums. It's so loud. I liked it at first. I didn't like it the second time I watched it because I was like, I still don't get this. And then I liked it a lot the third time, this time. Partly because this is like probably when I talk about vibes, like this is probably the vibiest movie from what I'm envisioning when I think of vibes. It's this one. It is very vibey. Love it. The score, sound design, sound effects, like cinematography, everything is like what I want.
Robert Pattinson's wardrobe.
Robert Pattinson is in it, and I like looking at that guy. He's a very attractive man.
Mm-hmm.
But in the whole kind of conceit is that like the line that everybody don't try to understand it, just feel it. The main thing that every time I've watched it, I have a hard time piecing together at the end when the big battle is happening.
Mm-hmm.
There are blue good guys and there are red good guys, right?
Yes.
And then there's a bunch of bad guys, question mark. I don't understand who is there. Who are the bad guys in this scenario and where did they come from? That's my biggest, like, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
It's very
They're Satyrs men.
Yeah. But yeah, like because I assume that, but I also like, where did they come from though? Because I feel like you don't really ever see or hear him talking about having an army. Like I guess he has an army somewhere, but
well, where did what's his face? Robert Pattinson comes with an army from what's that guy's name? Aaron Taylor Johnson just shows up and he's like, we got a ton of guys ready to go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think when it all converges at that point where there's so many people traveling backwards and forwards at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's always hard I wouldn't be able to do it if I tried to piece together, like, because they kind of explain it how Satyr is not actually from the future, but he's communicating with the future somehow. Anyway, you just go ahead and try to explain it until I understand it. Is what I asked you.
So
yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, we are in Kyiv, Ukraine. Okay, we're at the National Opera House of Kyiv, and the protagonist, as he is called, never credited it with a name.
Just give him a name. There's no reason to not have a name.
John.
So silly.
We'll call him John because that's the actor's name. Johnny Boy is there with a group of CIA operatives and third-party evil guys. And they know that there is going to be a terrorist organization coming to steal the package. And they get there, and the terrorists come in, and they start holding everybody up, and they're like, give us the stuff. And so then a bunch of Kiev operatives come in, the special forces or whatever are there, so they grab the badge that goes according to the people that show up, and then they go in there masked up, they're ready to help with the operation, but they're actually there to get the stuff themselves, because the guy who is hanging out there to give the drop-off has been made.
What is the stuff again?
The stuff is
they're trying to get?
The ninth piece of the algorithm.
Oh, yes.
Right? And they're all labeled after the radioactive material that they were stashed in, which I'll talk about later. This one specifically is plutonium-241.
Right.
So they get there. He has the package. He left it at coat check. So they get the package and they get out of there.
That much.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So John gets back to the car with his one other dude. Also, sorry. While he gets the stuff, he's like, I got to go back in there. They planted bombs to blow up the place. I got to go get these bombs to save these people, because John's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
So he goes back in there, and one of the actual operatives is there, and he's like, leave the bomb, dude. We're going to blow this place up. And then John notices a bullet hole on the floor, and the dust is starting to collect in the bullet hole, and then the bullet goes backwards, the chair is fixed, and the bullet goes through the dude behind him. And a guy is there with a gun, and he catches the bullet in his gun, and then he runs off because he had an inverted bullet. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So he gets captured by the guys that he was working with. They're like, you're CIA, like, we hate you. You're gonna give up where you put the bomb, or not the bomb, the plutonium. And he doesn't give up, and then he takes a cyanide pill from his friend and dies. And then he wakes up, and that one guy is there, and he's like, welcome to the afterlife, bro.
Well, it's Tenet time.
It's Tenet time. All I have for you is a word and a catchphrase.
And a gesture, I think he says.
Sorry. Armed with only a word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world.
Yep.
So
Johnny Tenet, that's his name.
Johnny Tenet, yep. So Johnny goes to this windmill and works out, and then
he does a few pull-ups.
He goes to some place where what's-her-face is there, and Clemens, is that her name? Yeah,
she's like, look,
Clemens Poe.
You can shoot bullets, but backwards sometimes.
So the idea is that sometime in the future, they have figured out a way to reverse the entropy of
objects,
an object, which essentially acts. It makes that object act as if it's going backwards in time.
Yes.
So that it because the entropy is reversed, it follows all of the laws of physics backwards, which makes it go back in time. So things that whatever happens happened, right? Is the line that Robert Pattinson says multiple times throughout the movie. Whatever's happened, whatever happens, happened, right?
Yeah.
Because things are going backwards and forwards now. There's a lot of objects that are going back in time, and she talks to John about it, and she's like, basically what we're seeing, all these inverted things, look to us like remnants of a war, of World War III, nuclear holocaust, that sort of thing.
We're trying to stop World War III.
Right. So that's what they say at the beginning is like, it's World War III. Turns out it's something worse.
It's something worse.
The future. Mm-hmm. So, he goes through, he starts doing his mission. He meets the arms dealer because he's like, I got to figure out where these guns come from, these inverted guns. And he goes and finds Sater, who is a Russian oligarch, really rich guy, owns guns. Kenneth's played by British actor Kenneth Branagh. So he plays this Russian guy, Sater. And his wife, Elizabeth Debicki, is there.
Very tall woman.
I was literally about to say she's tall in this movie.
She's tall a lot of times.
She
probably all the
sold
time.
him a fake painting for $9 million. And now he gets to hoard that over her and say, you are mine and only mine, and you can't leave because I can prove that you were fraud and you will go to jail forever.
If I can't have you, nobody can. Nobody can.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like crazy and possessive and abusive and blah, blah, blah. Terrible human being, right?
Great performance, though. Wow.
Wow.
Holy cow.
And so he's a bad guy, and he can communicate with the future somehow. And they need to figure out how, and they need to prevent him from getting these pieces of
plutonium 241.
Yes. And so the plutonium 241 isn't plutonium. It's this piece of a machine called the algorithm. And once you have all 9 pieces together, you can reverse the entropy of the entire world. The whole thing. And the present, as we are experiencing it, believes that if the entropy of the world were to be reversed, it would destroy everything. It would annihilate all of us. There's no chance.
Not just our present, but our past and our future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Entropy of everything. It would destroy everything.
Because this person doesn't Priya's like this. It was their generation's Oppenheimer who discovered this and created it and whatever.
Yeah.
Essentially, a nuclear bomb that can time travel and destroy all of time.
Yeah. So the people in the future, World War III is happening because of climate change. The world is being destroyed anyway. So they're like, hey guys, let's reverse entropy of the entire world, go back in time, 100 years, whatever it takes, and undo all the climate change we did. We'll clean everything up. It'll be great. And we can go back forward in time and just be happy and make peace. And so that's what they do. That's what they want to do. But the person who made this machine was like, screw that. If we reverse entropy, everybody's going to die in all time forever. Grandfather paradox sort of a deal. Right? And so she breaks up the algorithm into 9 pieces and hides them in the past. So she reverses the entropy of these objects themselves and places them in radioactive hotspots where people won't be looking for hundreds of years. And then eventually we have the downfall of the Soviet Union, where Sater is contracted to dig up the remnants of the plutonium, and he finds a time capsule with instructions from the future, because they can bury the time capsule in the future and reverse entropy it, and it goes back in time to wherever he is when he digs up the plutonium. He finds his time capsule, and it says, hey, dude, here's a bunch of gold. Do this and this and this and this. These things are going to happen. If you go this way and act this way, you will be super rich and famous and awesome. And so he does all these things, and he collects all these things for them so he can put together the thing and blow up the world, basically. Because he, sadly, because of all the radiation and plutonium he was looking for, he's got inoperable pancreatic cancer. So he's going to die regardless. Anyway. So he's like, I'm going to go back in time to my favorite moment and kill myself, and then the entire world is going to blow up because I can't have my wife. Because she doesn't love me.
Because if I can't have my wife, nobody can. If I can't have the world, no one can. He has this like obsession with like being God, essentially. Like, I decide when this thing ends.
Yeah. So our boy John and Robert Pattinson's character Neil
The Tenet boys.
are the Tenet men. Are going in and they create this pincer maneuver where they're going to go back in time several weeks to this big explosion that happened in this ancient Russian city called Stalsk 12. And they're going to be there with all, this is the moment in time when Sator is going to kill himself. He's in Vietnam with his wife. Meanwhile, in Russia, at the same time, there's an explosion that happens that buries the 9 pieces of the algorithm all together as one in this city underground, and it's going to be there till the future, so they can get it there in the future and use it to reverse entropy for the future. So that's the reason that they're fighting there in Stalsk 12.
I see. I understand that now for the first time.
Yes, this thing, he's going to leave it there for the future.
I see.
So the role of the reverse pincer maneuver is so that they can attack from the future and the past until the future can react because they've already seen what's happening, and then they can also tell the past what's going to happen so that they can they have full knowledge of the fight before and after it happens, and they can reverse time pincer through and retrieve the object, take it out of the hole, separate it into pieces, and bury them again, and then keep them reverse entropied, and then they can go back in time and hide in the past where they never be found. And then also trigger the explosion so that the future thinks it happened, and Sator thinks it happened, and he can die, finally.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
There you go. John is moving forward in time.
Now I understand it.
Well done. Okay, then I'm done.
You succeeded. Heck yeah, dude. That was my main hang-up, so now I get it.
Yeah. So as for the reason that Sator's army is there is simple as they are protecting. They want the explosion thing to happen with the algorithm buried in the hole.
Right.
So they're there to protect that.
Yeah. I think it's not super hard to understand when you're telling me, but then when you watch the movie, it's hard to keep up with what you're seeing and what's happening because for example, we should stop talking about this movie and move on to Oppenheimer. But when John, for the first time, when John reverses, when he goes through the machine, and then at that point, we, the audience, are observing John move forwards, backwards in time. You know what I mean? He's
perceiving time moving forward.
He's
but everything
perceiving
around
time
him
moving
is going
forward,
backwards.
but he's going backward.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that when you're watching it, it's what is happening? Because he's driving a car forwards, but he's moving, but it's going backwards actually. You know? It's just it's hard to I don't know. It's hard to follow in the moment when I'm watching it happen. Bleh. Yeah. But I love the action in this movie and all the aspects of it's just so creative, you know?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And it's fun to as the time folds and the characters interact with themselves a couple times. It's fun to go back to the earlier scenes and see if you can catch those moments. Or one of my favorite things is early in the movie when they're in Freeport in Oslo. They go there,
great stuff, man.
And they find the turnstile in the center of the thing, and a guy just jumps out. And it's John reversing himself during the time heist.
Yep.
Later in the movie. And he fights himself, and the person of him running backwards is fighting himself forwards in the past. And his now forward version of himself is running away from Robert Pattinson. They find
Right.
each other. He knows that it's him, and he lets him go. Whatever happens there, right? But then in when both Johns are fighting each other, his forward self stabs his backward self, and later in the movie he starts getting pain right here, and then like right before the heist he's bleeding and stuff, and then we get to that point and he like stabs himself, and then he pulls the knife out and his arm is healed because it hasn't happened yet, even though time for him is still running forward relative to himself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's like the wound reversed healed and then instantly healed because it hadn't happened yet.
It's crazy.
Which is cool.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's really fun. I like it a lot.
Forwards and backwards at the same time.
And the last one is Oppenheimer. It's pretty good, I guess. Whatever.
We need to have a whole episode about it. It's amazing. So you can listen to that.
Okay.
we gotta rank these. Okay.
I know we're probably over 2 hours already, huh?
Yeah. We can anyway. Let's just rank them and be
okay.
But I think we should probably just do. You just give me your ranking. We'll discuss, and then I'll give you my ranking, and we'll discuss. You go.
Okay. So my list is as follows. We have at the bottom, The Dark Knight Rises. Garbage.
Wow.
Then we have Memento. Pretty fun.
Wow.
Low-key. Then at 10, I have Following. This one really hit me. I was like, this is fun. I like this. This is cool. Batman Begins. I got a soft spot for Batman Begins. I could like it. Cillian Murphy's great. And you always fear what you don't understand, which I think is in the second movie, but whatever. Insomnia went up a couple spots during our conversation because I was like, yeah, this movie's actually pretty good. That's right.
Heck yeah. It's better than Batman Begins for sure.
Yes. And then I have The Prestige, which probably will go above Dunkirk the next time I watch it. So, tentative number 5. Number 6, I have Dark Knight, which is good. But like, I don't know, it's a superhero movie. It's not a Nolan movie, you know? And then I have, in the top 5, we have Dunkirk, which is fire. Inception, which is fire. Tenet, which is really good. Like, I almost want to put it as an honorable mention, and give it, just so I could give it 5 stars. But I don't know if it's really a top 10 worthy movie. And then I have my two Christopher Nolan movies that are in my top 10 movies of all time. I have Oppenheimer at number 2 and Interstellar, of course, at number 1.
Yeah. Interested why you put Following above Memento. What do you like more about Following?
I think the acting was better.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. And I just like the twist more. I thought Memento was just, I don't know. I like the
I
premise
said anticlimactic, yeah.
Yeah, I think the premise is really cool, but that's like kind of it for me for that one. I don't think a lot of the other stuff in it is really that great, and I think Following just has a bit of an edge on it for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but Following is at the bottom of my list just because I couldn't find myself paying that much attention to it, and it was kind of, I don't know. It was just a lot of premise that I thought was cool, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not really. There wasn't enough visual, audio.
I didn't like that it was in black and white. It didn't have to be in black and white.
It wasn't enough to keep me engaged. And then my number. How many are there? This is 11. Number 11, Batman Begins. I don't like it. Number 10, Dark Knight Rises, like a little bit more than Batman Begins. Because I don't like the way Batman Begins looks. It has this weird like orange glow, and I don't like it. It looks gross.
Are you saying you don't like Half-Blood Prince? That movie has a sort of a weird orange glow.
It does, yeah. It does have sort of a weird orange glow.
That movie's amazing.
Number 9, I have Dunkirk. Boring. I put Memento above it because I wasn't bored, and that's really the only reason I put it above it. And then I feel like this was the middle.
This is a bit of a
middle take. 2.
Explain
Inception.
Explain Inception this low.
Inception is my number 7 because I don't know how often I will rewatch it because I genuinely like after the first few times they explain how it works and then the first dream sequence where they do the cool stuff in Ariadne's dream, I'm just not vibing with them that much. And that could just be a factor of, like I said, like it might just be because I've seen it too many times. I don't know. It's just, it did not work for me as much this time around. I thought the characters were very like one-dimensional, not that interesting. Premise is obviously great, but I feel like it could have. Well, here I am saying it could have been better, but I think it could have been better. I think it's Inception and The Dark Knight are good examples of middle. Like all of these are really good in my opinion, even though I don't like some of them. But
yeah.
Anyway, Dark Knight at number 6. Yeah, top of the middle section here. You know, it's like a lot that I like, but a lot of the Batman stuff that I don't like, and there are much better Batman stories out there.
Yeah.
Then I have my top 5. Insomnia at 5. Just really worked for me for whatever reason. I liked the vibe of it. I liked feeling the insomnia with the characters and all that stuff. Great murder mystery. Love the payoff. I like murder mysteries where the actual murder isn't the mystery, and it's like how the characters kind of get out of the situation or get into the situation. You know what I mean? Like Knives Out. Like it's not really, at the end of the day, Harlan Thrombey slit his own throat. You know that. And then it's all of the character interaction that make that movie so good. Tenet at number 4. It's probably a hot take that I put The Prestige above Tenet at number 3. Just because like I feel like Tenet is one of the Nolan movies where like I'm not connected with really any of the characters that much emotionally. Elizabeth Debicki is like the only character. Well, that's the actress's name. I don't remember. Her name's Kat, I think, who has like this kind of emotional character arc with her son and being in this abusive relationship. But other than that, like the main character doesn't even have a first name. I'm like, whatever. I don't care about these guys. But The Prestige, like
Johnny Tenet.
I care about these characters. Johnny Tenet, Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale's best performance in my opinion. I don't know. I feel weird saying that, but like it's my favorite Christian Bale performance.
You don't have to feel
Oppenheimer number 2.
Most people would probably say American Psycho, which is not actually a good movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Never will. Oppenheimer's my number 2. We have a whole episode on it. It's insane. It is insane. But yeah, number 1, Interstellar. Just like everything I love about movies and all of the movies that I like science fiction is like my favorite genre. So like we're here with Interstellar. Yeah. It all comes together so well. Like we talked about ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. Wow. This movie's pretty good, you guys. Christopher Nolan, you guys. Yeah. He knows what he's doing. I think he does. I just want to know how he does it so I can do it also.
What's he doing next? I wonder.
JFK. Didn't you hear the teaser in the?
Yeah, I heard the teaser, the post-credit scene where JFK shows up, turns around to the Avengers theme. Okay.
Dude, it has been a trip. I've been sitting in this chair for a while.
I'm glad we did this. This was great.
You know what? We actually fulfilled a goal we had to do this one. We've set goals in the past that have not come to fruition. X-Men.
DC movies together.
DC movies. Fast and Furious slideshow.
Fast and Furious. Yeah. Well, we did
still working on that. That one's ever changing. That one's
it is just ever evolving. It only gets better as time goes on.
Exactly. Jordan's Batman video. You know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's still around.
That's in the tank.
In the tank.
Yeah.
In the drink.
So, oh no. So we're done with episode 63. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We're done with it. Had enough of it. Come back next week for an episode that very may well have a guest.
Very may well. We
Very-
shall find out.
Yeah. I'm going to say there's a good chance they show up.
If we say it like it's a fact right now, then
Yeah.
they have to show up.
Okay, well then you say it.
Next week
So
we're
I'm
going to
not
have
culpable.
a guest, and they're going to share their favorite movies. So that's great.
Wow, I'm excited.
Join us for that. You're going to want to be here for
Mhm.
that.
You're going to want to be here for that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week. And who knows? Maybe we will have more episodes of Ahsoka to talk about.
Hopefully
it's
they'll be
exciting.
good.
Star Wars is good again. And Dave Filoni can have my children. I don't know. He's great.
Yikes.
I'm a big fan. And
All
we're
right.
out of here, guys.
Okay.
Peace out. Thor: Love and Thunder's pretty good.
Okay. I mean, let's fire this thing back up.